Okay, hey everybody, Adam here. Concerned Relatives, concernedrelatives.com. I want to talk to you about our words, what we hear, and how we put that back out into the airspace. So I've heard a couple of different things, and they're related, but one was like a totally a whole nother level. And so I want to caution everybody right now. The Church of God Restoration is in a mess. The top leadership is in turmoil, and I've heard, it's right now it's just a rumor. I can't say what it is because I don't know. And the scripture says not to receive an accusation but by 2 or 3 witnesses. I've been careful to do that, and I have been careful the last 6 years to not speak about anything that I wasn't sure about. And everything that I have said, I have been exact. I've not embellished anything. I've not exaggerated anything. If I've said it, it's because it's true. If I've said that John Friesen prayed through the name of Ray Tinsman, Stephen Hargrave, and the other 10 apostles at the time, it's because he did. And there's video evidence to back it up. Well, audio. They didn't do video back then. They started doing video after I started exposing them. I and some others started helping me. There was others before, Bernie Taholke, Reddington. They had their websites, but the real impact was made on them when I started doing videos like this. And they tried to counter that through getting on YouTube, doing their own thing. So now we've got video, and some of the crazy things that they've said and done are on video. But John Friesen praying another way, quote unquote, is you can hear the whole entire message. I downloaded it to my computer. It's uploaded on concernedrelatives.com. You can go and listen to it. Him praying another way. But here lately, I'm hearing things that are just like, okay, wait a minute. I'm hearing this, then I'm hearing this, and it's like, wait a minute. Somebody is stretching things. And the problem is, there is a truth, okay? There's a truth. No doubt there are marriages among the restoration that are in trouble. New marriages, old marriages, no doubt about it. But to say something like, well, I don't think they're together right now because he turned out to be gay. To me, that's an exaggeration on, it's definitely an exaggeration on what I heard. Okay? For sure. And I don't know. I from what I do know, I don't think that is the truth. I don't think it's true they're not together because he turned out to be gay. I don't believe that's the truth. It could be, but I don't think it is. So the point I want to make is that, people hear things, okay? I heard, for example, I heard that their marriage isn't doing well right now. And then later I heard some youth said that all of them are gay, talking about this specific family. And then I just heard talking about the same person that, I don't think they're together right now because he turned out to be gay. To me, that's an exaggeration. That is going too far. And so the problem is that when the truth does come out about anything, and we already know that Ray Tinsman, Stephen P. Hargrave, Randall Hargrave, there was some leaked audio of Randall Hargrave doing a 45-minute, I think it was 45 minutes, an hour, with the young people, telling them that if they hear that Steve Hargrave, Brother Steve, was kissing on somebody or whatever, if Ray don't say it, it isn't true. You don't believe it. And so they've been prepping these people's minds for years, particularly very strongly in the last 6 years, to only come under, only believe whatever the leadership says and nothing beyond that. So those of you that are curious, those of you that are maybe in the know or think you're in the know, you need to choose your words wisely. You need to make sure that what's coming out of your mouth is not an exaggeration. It's not, you're just spewing he said, she said. Because it's not right. First off, it makes you a liar or cousin to a liar, bare minimum. And there's a lot of problems with that. You know, I want the truth to be known so that I want it to be understood. I want the truth to be understood so that when the truth is told, people can connect the dots and make an informed decision based on facts and not based on he said, she said garbage. And so it's troubling to me that these things are happening. There's been videos made. For example, one guy put sunglasses and a blue jean jacket on Ray Tinsman one time. Ray never wears that stuff. He might wear sunglasses, but he never wears a blue jean jacket. And he certainly doesn't smoke cigarettes. But he was depicted in that way. And so now we're putting the false impression out there that, oh, this is the way Ray is. No. You put Ray in the penguin suit that he always wears, the straight jacket, and you put him the way he is and you represent him the way he is so that if somebody runs into him on the street, they know exactly who they've met and who they're dealing with. You don't exaggerate it. And so there's been a lot of stuff along the way. And Ray was smart enough to come out and say, hey, if you see a video of me doing something, it's fake. It's made up. It's Hollywood. There's somebody sitting behind a computer making me do things that I never did. And like the whore in Proverbs, he's licking his lips and saying, what have I done? That's fake. And you don't know if it's fake or not because somebody along the way has made stuff up or exaggerated things, and now all you've done is give them a cloak to cover up with. We want to strip them of the cloak. We want to take the false religious ideas, emotions, the false belief that they have promoted for the last 40 years, and we want to expose it for what it is so that people can see it for what it is and not get entangled with it. When we first came among the Church God Restoration, the cult, to me, it appeared to be, right at the beginning, it appeared to be a conservative church, just like many other conservative churches, but they had a form of godliness that excelled other conservative churches that I had been in contact with or had seen or been exposed to at that time. But as time went on and the layers began to peel off, and I began to rub shoulders around the leaders, and particularly Steve Hargrave and Ray Tinsman, and then I began to see more, okay, this isn't quite what they're saying it is. Now I see it, or at least I think I see it, wide open, eyes wide open. So, like Paul, I say, pray for me because I think I have peace with all men. I'm saying, pray for me because I think I see it with eyes wide open. And so, these things are very subtle. And the end of the matter is fear God and keep his commandments. The end of their matter is fear man and come under man, which I never did. Ray himself said, oh, you can't tell Adam anything. Well, first off, they scarcely ever tried to tell me anything. But secondly, I never went to them. I wasn't there for them. I already had a relationship with Jesus. I didn't go there seeking God. I already had a relationship with God. But back to the point. We cannot exaggerate anything. You know, I've said for years, the cult leaders have said, oh, Adam's taking us out of context, or Adam's making things up, or we never said that. The truth of the matter is Adam did not take anything out of context. Adam did not exaggerate anything. But they just blatantly, when their own dope was presented in front of them, they couldn't believe it with their own eyes. They couldn't believe that, oh, John Friesen did pray through Ray. What my ears were hearing and what I was seeing in full display in front of me really did happen. But they dismissed it because in a you know, if you just think about it on the surface, anybody that's ever read any portion of the Bible knows you don't pray through man. You know that. But they dismissed it because, oh, this is the one and only true church. False right there. False thinking. This is the one and only, this is the New Jerusalem. False thinking. And so they could not allow themselves to come under or be in alignment with the truth because they were believing the lie. And the lie prevented them from seeing the truth. And that's the way it's going to be, I'm afraid, if some of y'all don't get your words right. And if you don't stop exaggerating, you have to be very careful with your words. The scripture says words are the words of a man's mouth are as deep waters. So it's very important what we say and how we say it. You can't just be throwing stuff out there. You're going to cause more harm than you cause good. Because in the end of the day, those that are in there that are wanting to desperately cling to the lies that they have eaten, and they hear, oh, they're all gay. Or they're not together because I don't think they're together, or whatever version of that. Or they're having problems in their marriage because turns out he's gay. They hear that and they know they're more in tune to the truth than you are. And they're looking at it, immediately they're like, he ain't gay. He might sound gay. He might come across sometimes like he might be gay, but he ain't gay. So, we got to be careful here. I mean, I have been accused for the last 6 years of having an axe to grind, I'm mad, I'm this, I'm that, I'm bitter, all this crazy stuff, because people project onto me their own personal thoughts and feelings that they would be entangled with if they were in my shoes. But they're far from the truth. And many of them, because of their own self-delusion, they won't even talk to me. They're afraid to talk to me. They've even been told, oh, don't talk to Adam. Anything you tell him, he'll go live and tell it. That's delusion. I don't do that. I hear stuff all the time, and I don't even talk. I heard something this week that likely, very likely, high probability is very true. And even the way I heard it is exact. High probability. Okay? But I only heard it from one witness. And so I can't go on in good conscience and say, XYZ did XYZ. I can't do it. But I can put a post on there and say, rumor is that one of the three, or some among the three, or the top leadership has done something really naughty. See, I'm not being specific, I'm being vague, but I'm letting it known that, okay, look, I know something, I've heard something, but I can't tell you what it is. And I'm not going to. Now, I have a personal one-on-one conversation, and I'm very careful with my words. But I'm not going to go on in a public sphere and just put out hearsay, because that's what it is. So anyway, I hope you got some good out of this. Jesus said, the words that I say unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So we want our words to be the same way. We want to speak life, not death. And sometimes, those that are ignorant or out of the way, they'll hear me talking. They'll look at one of my videos for 3 seconds or whatever it is. And they'll think, oh, this guy, blah, blah, blah. And they'll come to some conclusion. But in the end, we want our words to administer life and to be made aware of wolves in sheep's clothing, to be made aware of messengers of Satan transformed into the ministers of righteousness, and on, to be made aware of the Demetriuses and the coppersmiths, those that are playing church, that are not all in. To be made aware of these things is very important. More often than not, they're swept under the rug. They're not talked about because there's too many players involved that are guilty of the same. It's like the Democrats and Republicans. So I'll just say this in summary. There is only one name given among men whereby we must be saved, and that is Jesus Christ. That is his authority. It's not Ray Tinsman or Stephen P. Hargrave of Muncie, Indiana, ruler of Brothers Barbershop on Wheeling Avenue in Muncie, or Real Black Excellence, or any other, whatever other fantasy he's got going on. Steve Hargrave's not it. Randall P. Hargrave is not it. Any more than their dad was it when he was in and out of insane asylums and in and out of jail. They're not it. Jesus is the only way. And if you don't know that, it's because you've not come into contact with him to know it. And when you receive his grace through faith in him, then you will know it. And you'll look back and, oh, yeah, now I know exactly what Adam was talking about. But you're only going to get there if you diligently seek him. That's the only way. All right. Thanks for listening. Share the videos. Warn your friends, your neighbors, your enemies. I've got enemies. I got an in-law that told me flat out, if it was legal, he would have hung me from the tree. And I've said for years, when I first got born again, I saw that spirit of murder and hate right here in the U.S. And I've been saying for years, if it wasn't for the law, they would be killing us. Us being those that are born again and those that hold up and speak for the truth. Said it for years. And 25 years later, I got a young punk relative telling me that just spewing hatred in a public sphere, in a public space in his house, but a lot of people there right in front of him, blatantly saying he would have hung me from the tree out back a long time ago. So I forget how that came into the picture, but nonetheless, there's a lot of players in the religious arena that are not your friends. There's a lot of religious players in the arena of exposing false leaders, exposing the COGR that are not your friends for whatever reason or another. Sometimes they don't even have a reason or need a reason. They look at you and don't like you. They think, oh, he's smart, whatever. So, all right. Lord bless y'all. The Lord said, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Wherefore be ye wise as a serpent and harmless as doves. Lord bless you.